Hey, what's up, guys? Running behind. I had to swap out computers. Still can't find what I'm looking for. Here we go. All right. Noble, good morning. Welcome, Save on Maison. How are you? Welcome, welcome. This is probably the most anticipated figure ever in my collection, I have to say. This Mark VII that we got today. I haven't had a cup of coffee yet this morning. Running way behind. I didn't set my alarm clock properly. So hopefully this thing will cooperate properly. It's terrible. All right, how's that? Better? Yes, no, indifferent. How does this make it? CBS Sci-Fi, how are you? I hope I will. I hope I will. The not awake yet. Forgive me. The Mark VII I have. If you were to get technical about it, I have 6 of them. In all actuality, I have one red and gold Mark VII. They made different versions of it. You could get, I forget what they were. One was, essentially one had all the features and one did not. So I bought the one that has all the features, all the battle damaged and everything. I have 2 versions of the Mark 21, the original release, and then the Chrome, which essentially, again, is a Mark 7. I have the Mark 7 Stealth, 2 of those, and a Mark 7 Subarctic. So, in a sense, if you were to count all of those, technically, yes, I have 6 versions. But, in all actuality, I only have one red and gold Mark 7. So they stopped making the Hall of Armor, gosh, 3 years ago. They quit announcing them. And most of the Hall of Armor suits, I think, for some reason I've got the number 15 in my head, are based off of the Mark 7. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So it's my opinion that with their reimagining or recreating or fixing the scale of the Iron Man suits with the diecast figures that they've come out with. I'm fully under the impression that the whole reason they stopped with the Hall of Armor was because of this. They wanted to get this out. Once they got this out, in my opinion, they can start doing the Hall of Armor and or re-release the Hall of Armors that they have already made that are based strongly on the Mark VII. The 8, the 9, the 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Uh, 18, 20, 21. Oh God, I don't want your help. Started updating my PC. Sheesh. Yeah, you can shut up. Goodbye. So I started updating this computer yesterday, and even this morning it was still doing, and you hear now where she is, evidently. So I had to bring in the other computer to be able to talk to you guys today. So this is a totally different diecast box. And no, I have not watched any of the unboxings, so I haven't, this is going to be my impression, my first impression of this. You know, for the box collectors, I would call this probably a bit of a disappointment in regards to it changing from the way things are. You know what I mean? You've changed from tried and true. You've changed from what you've been giving us since the first diecast figure was released 3 years ago. So yeah, I'm not too pleased about that. Color's pretty cool. Almost appears to be a metallic or chromish, which it is here, obviously. I don't remember ever there being a sideways one, ever. And this is definitely very fuzzy, very textured. And also, this is a kind of a dark gray, almost a black, compared to the other gray. So they've totally gone a different avenue with this. Totally. So you see just from here, it almost looks like opening up a Mark 43 with nothing. You know, it doesn't appear to have anything because obviously it's all going to be in the bottom shelf. Very lackluster, just right now. Fully aware of what I got in my hand, so fully aware. While I'm at it, I believe I'll get the 7 down out of the Hall of Armor. Keep it ready here for a comparison. Definitely going to have to go over this. So upper cover is enclosing the additional. And they didn't make like they made an exclusive version of this that came with a little holographic pod. That didn't mean anything to me. I have 3 or 4 of the holographs, and they're really kind of like, what do I do with this? So I wasn't going to spend any extra money on that. It just didn't seem like anything that I needed. It wasn't like there was no collection of those And they didn't appear to be anything that anyone really had any real interest in. I've got, I think, the War Machine. I've got the Mark VII. I've got, I think, the Mark I. Don't remember. They just don't. It doesn't seem like anybody's, going out of their way to collect the holographs. Now, also on my Mark VII, this is my original one here. The hand quit working. The light up repulsor quit working on it. So I literally had to buy another hand and replace the wires and the whole nine yard was bad. And what I bought actually was a arm from a Mark 21. Took all the guts out of it and rewired this one back in here. Also, these little elbows, they get real soft and sticky and rubbery, so they break down and degrade. But mine's well after I did perform the surgery on it. So here's an original Mark VII. This was the battle damaged version, which came with the laser arms. These look like the thigh pieces and pieces for the pod. It's definitely designed differently. So on this piece, if you bore the lasers, you couldn't also have the rockets. So here they have the rockets. I'm almost positive, if I remember correctly, these rockets won't come off. So you can't display it with the rockets and the lasers. So you have this little arm piece here. Here they show the rockets with that arm piece. I like that little nameplate, red and gold. That's cool. And the little rounds, empty shell casings on here. That's pretty cool. So something they have for this, they had made to light up at one point. That's where the batteries would go. This one is not a light up. Very heavy. Definitely a differently designed base too. Batteries. I don't want to mess with the batteries today. So this guy actually comes with 2 whole sets of arms. This guy does not come with 2 whole sets of arms. These are all the accessories. For this guy. So that's Mark VI's. What we got here? Here we go. Here's his other sets of arms. Here. These I think are Mark VI arms. As far as accessories goes, this one definitely has a lot more of them. Whole other set of arms, so you can swap out the rockets on them. It comes with multiple versions of this. And then the multiple versions of the thighs. Now we get the multiple versions of thighs I see right here, but not multiple arms. Another thing that they've done, and I noticed this in the photographs on the original ones, these shoulder flaps where the missiles are, they opened up in this manner. Okay. And now the new ones open up in this manner. I'm assuming this is more screen accurate as such, instead of this way. So it's a total different design as that goes. And there's the insides of those two flaps as well. So you can see there's a difference in them. So I'm assuming this one's more screen accurate than this one. So of course, every one of these Hall of Armor, Iron Man, the 8, the 9, the 10, 11, the 12, 27, 20, 21, all of them would have to have this compared to this. Jason Silva, how you doing, man? Cool. Thanks, Megatron. I did order the Hulkbuster arm. So this doesn't close down. So if you're displaying the missiles on this new one, you're displaying this open. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Can't close that down. That'll damage shoulder piece. Let's look at the shoulder. It's different shoulder. They've made a lot of changes to it. My biggest question was, though, and I'll be anxious to have a look at that, can this be attached to this? I'm thinking not. I'm thinking there's no possible way that this can go on that, truthfully. And that's a shame. I mean, to spend $400 on this to turn it into a pod, I got a problem with that. Pink lasers. Trying to remember if he used. Trying to remember if he used the lasers in the Avengers. He must have. Okay, so immediately he feels beefier. I thought one thing that was interesting, which a lot of collectors didn't even know this feature was on their Mark VII. Down here on the calves, these little flaps here open up. Same on the Mark 21. So the little exhausts or jets, they actually open up a little bit. On the outside, the inside, there's 4 of them. That's closed. That's opened. Right there. A lot of collectors told me they didn't even realize that was there. So I want to check and make sure they're on this guy too. It looks like they are. Sure enough. They open up even more. So they're very profound compared to these, which are very subtle. So they open up quite nicely. Now That was probably a big question that I had. I literally feel like I'm touching something from antiquity, something that should be held in reverence. It's like touching the infamous Mark VII. It's interesting that this thought is going on in my mind. One problem he had when you had the missiles deployed or the hatch open on them was the shoulder pieces would get in the way of these little lips. Made it difficult for posing. But through finagling, you can get a good little position out of it, which would still work well. On this one, it appears that they really fixed that. We have butterfly joints. Which this one's sadly missing. And the shoulder armors really work really well. Really impressed with this here. So of course they've had what, 27? What number is this? 27. They've had 26 other die-cast figures to perfect this on. You know what I mean? So by the time they did get to this, which again is probably, you know, the question comes up: one Iron Man figure, which one? This one. If you're only collecting one Iron Man figure, for only one, if you're only getting one to represent your Marvel collection, your Marvel Avengers, only one, the Mark VII. That's the one. It's really the one. And for it to get this, jeez, he feels different. Okay, this guy feels smooth and glossy. This guy doesn't feel smooth and glossy. He feels like he needs a wax job, if that makes any sense whatsoever. The back looks beefier. It looks well. I'll put these here, put a head on them, and go through the instruction manual real quick. It's taller. Much taller. You can see that the shoulders are fact. Come on, guys, cooperate with me. Now those came right out. Should be easy to put on again. I didn't think I had much effort into anything. It's a big difference. Size there. Golly, look at that. Why does it come out so easily? I'm just touching it. My goodness. This left one just pops right out every single time. I'm just going to leave it there for a minute. Got to read the instruction manual for a fact. Thank you, Gorgul. Plastic Ethan Diecast. It's because of the shine that it's missing. It's a dull matte finish. Now, not dull matte finish like the Mark IX, but it's not shiny. It really isn't. The lights shining on the helmet here, on the plastic, I mean, the lights are just reflecting off. I mean, when I put my hand here, as I'm talking about it, I can see my hand totally in the reflection of the back of his head. All right? When I do this here, the hand's not really even visible. He's there, but he's not. He's totally missing the shine. And I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. Not at all. Now, the Mark IX is very, very dull, very matty. I don't think the Mark VII should look very dull and matty. So the battery goes in the helmet the same way. Uses the AG1 LR621, 1.5 volt batteries, which are included. We're not going to put those in because I don't feel like screwing around with batteries for an hour. Battery goes in the back in a similar area as they have normally, right the dead center in the back. They have a cover over it this time. Clean up the back to make it look more movie accurate, I'm assuming. Again, I'm not going to put the batteries in. Uses the AG1 LR621s as well. So the back batteries use the same batteries as the head batteries. So they give us smaller ones for the arms. These batteries don't last long in the first place. Okay? You put your batteries in your figure. If you turn them on, hour tops, your figure's gone dead on batteries. And they've included even smaller ones for the arms. AGO L521F. 3 of those for the arms. AG1 LR621 for the little light up pod, so the pod will light up. That's cool. 621 is what they used to put in everything, so we even have smaller ones here for the arms. Sheesh. So 30, 45 minutes tops. It's just not worth putting the batteries in. It really isn't. It's not worth putting the batteries in to show it to you. It's just not worth it. You got to take them back out, leave them and destroy your piece. Really isn't. It really isn't worth it. So in the for the arm, they go in the bicep, and in this little pod piece. Where does it go? What is this? Wait a minute. So you have to unscrew the whole piece. So you have to unscrew the whole front piece on this. Take this whole front area off in order to get to where the batteries are. You have to take this whole front piece, this chest piece, off in order to get to the batteries. That's insane. That's crazy. I notice also They don't give you little they don't give you these little chess pieces right here on the pod. When the pod came to him, it came complete. So I assume you have to use these chess pieces on the pod as well. The pod is a great idea. I'm glad to have the pod. The pod was really cool. But I hate that you have to use an entire Mark VII diecast in order to make a pod. What the hell? 400 bucks to make a pod. You follow me? How is that not how does that not a problem to anybody? Why am I the only one that looks at that and says, what the fuck? By the way, this channel is rated teen and above. So this pops off, and then you have to unscrew this. So this just literally just comes right off. You have to unscrew this to get to where the batteries go inside of it. So if you're under 13, get off the channel. All these figures are rated for 15 and up anyhow, so there shouldn't be any COPPA violation or any indication for me whatsoever to be pandering to children. Because I'm not. We're probably going to be saying fuck a lot. As in, what in the absolute fuck? So if that's sensitive to you, I'm sorry. Grow up. Really excited about this. I wish I wasn't so tired this morning. Interchangeable heads, of course. We have the light up head, and then we have a head. Now on the Mark 40, they really did a really good job of making, and it's the Mark 40 only, making it so that this head with a face in it could be lit up. And I thought that was a sign of things to come, and it was not. They did that to no other, which is a crying shame. It's really neat to be able to lift the head up and then close it and it light up. You only needed one head, essentially. If I remember correctly, they still give you two heads for the Mark 40. I don't remember exactly. I can look real quick. But I would have thought for a fact they would have continued it on. They did not. Mark 23 didn't come with a head sculpt. It came just with the helmet. And then I think that was pretty much the last figure. Maybe the 27 was that they released. 28, they snuck out there. They showed pictures of the Mark 28 jack behind. I think it was the Mark 27 or Mark 23. I don't remember which one it was. And that was it. There's no more. And that's literally what I believe is going to happen with the now that the Mark VII is out. We're going to see the Hall of Armor continue. I love this detail that they've done here. Go over on this side of the helmet open with the little, I don't know, electrodes or whatever. We didn't. That's not on any of the others. It wasn't on the original Mark VII either. They made it very clean when you would open up, and clearly at the end of Avengers when they take his helmet off, those are there. But any other time he just lifts the faceplate up, they're not there. Okay, I think Hulk ripped his faceplate off, didn't it? Maybe that's why those were on there. But it's neat to see that those are there. That's really cool. Definitely a lot of changes here in the helmet as well. More rounded, if that makes sense. It's a new helmet. Same magnet system. I mean, literally the same. The faceplate looks to have the same design on the inside. But it just feels more solid. Tony always ends up with a little cut piece there on his forehead. There's that. see if we can put these out here. Indicated part is fragile. Be careful when interchanging the head sculpts, otherwise it may get damaged. And they're talking about those that we were just talking about. The little, I'm not sure what you would call them. But I think the only reason we see them is because I'm pretty sure Hulk like snatched his faceplate off, and when they scared him to death or something, didn't they? Or scared him to life? Looking at the hands here, I'm on the hands section in the instruction manual. Nothing on this guy is shiny. So, what am I missing here? These pop off, right? Okay, cool. A little different how that goes. And then what? This pops off? Sure doesn't feel like it does. It must. There it goes. Really in there, really tight. So he did a good job on the connection of these little missiles. They're in there tight. No doubt about it. They redesigned that totally. Got a missile I can show you on another figure. It's the same missiles on all of them. What I got here with missiles out. Mark 20. So Mark 20 is a combination Mark 7, Mark 17. So the whole top portion of them is a Mark 7, totally Mark 7. And then the legs are Mark 17. And the 9 is the same thing. The only difference is one has the Mark 7 pelvis and one has the Mark 17 pelvis. So, along my theory, this would be one that they could easily redo by changing these out. It's also interesting that the Mark 17, which is the bottom of the Mark 20 here, was the first figure that they actually said was going to be diecast. When Hot Toys made the official diecast announcement that they were going to start making diecast Iron Man figures, it was the Mark 17 that hadn't been announced yet, was the one that they were showcasing as being diecast. When the Mark 17 came out, it was not diecast whatsoever. But the original diecast announcement, the original announcement that Hot Toys was going to be making diecast Iron Man figures, showed the Mark 17 as being the diecast figure, and it was not. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And now that kind of helps you, follow along my thought that the reason the Hall of Armor stopped 3 years ago is because of this guy. Waiting on him to make him. The Mark 17 was already one they'd already planned on making diecast, it appears, because that was the one they showcased as being the first diecast figure. That would have been D01, which it never was. So that's where that is. So I got him over here to look at his little missile piece, or his rocket, missile or rocket. I'm going to say missile because it's smaller. I'll show you the difference in them, the way that they connect. little more detail, not much. Quite a bit of detail on it in the first place, but on the original one, the way that it connected was just a little bitty tab, whereas on the new one, it's a much bigger tab. And if you can see the one towards the top of the screen is the little tab that they had on it, and now on the new one, the tab is much larger, which is going to make it a lot easier to go on and off, and in and out of there without it being a problem, which is cool. I don't remember if any of these missiles really were a problem, but they didn't seem to want to stay in there well. If I remember correctly, you sometimes would have to really be gentle and not bump into them to knock them out. This, the surface area that it has, is great. It's difficult coming out. It's so tight in there. God, these little shoulder missiles. I did not even touch this right side one, and it's totally flopping out of here. Both of these guys. What in the absolute fuck? For real. Jeez. Okay, so one thing I see also as a problem. I don't know why they didn't do like the magnets that they do on the Mark 42, 43, and the others where the forearm pieces come off. They really did a good job explaining this whole little bracelet here, which is the forearm actually opening up to allow the accessories to come out. You can see that with this. You can actually see that that's the whole intention of that in the design of this piece. Where this just looks like a bracelet. I really like that. Works well. But I don't understand why they didn't make this a magnet. So instead of it being a whole arm that you have to replace, you just replace just a forearm. So that's why they don't give you the whole arm again, which is good because storing this arm is a whole big drawer in itself. So it's nice that it's just these little guys that you replace in order to get that on there. That's cool. A little bit of a pain in the ass, but it's cool. And then, of course, as he's deploying his missiles, he blows these pieces off. He blows the shoulder pieces off. He blows the thigh pieces off. And in order to even move that missile or rocket, whatever it is, higher into outer space, he blows off these chest pieces too. So those come off. So you can display him totally stripped down. Many ways that you can display a Mark VII. Many ways that you can display him. Many. Which is really cool. Very versatile figure. Trying to get the little rockets out of his first thigh. That's 4 missiles on it. And this guy has 7. 7 of them. Interesting. And again, I'm assuming this is more movie accurate. I don't know. But I'm glad they included it. And on the other pieces, I try to display all different ways in regards to that. I'll do some with the missiles open. I'll do some with the legs on or off to show that through the other Hall of Armor suits that have that. And literally, that's where you get in your display of this guy, how are you displaying him in the scene from the movie? What's going to be your ultimate goal? He used one time in Avengers. Satin finish. It sure is somewhere between gloss and matte. Absolutely. But not like the Mark 9. Now, the Mark 9 truly has a full on satin finish. Mark 9, the only way you could have gotten the Mark 9, which again, back to the Mark 20, it's the same thing as the Mark 20. The only way you could have got the Mark 9 is if you bought the Pepper Potts kit. Came with Mark 9 and Pepper Potts. And if you'll notice, this one has the Mark 17 pelvis, and this one has the Mark 7 pelvis. Other than that, identical figures. But this one is definitely very satin and very orangish in its red. This guy's not really satin, but he's definitely not gloss. And I don't like that. I mean, I love it on this. I love this finish on this because he's unique. This guy I wanted to be gloss. And it really makes me have to go back to the movie to see if it wasn't shiny. I have a hard time believing it wasn't shiny because he was still hot rod red. He was still making, he was still considered the mechanic, right? I don't know. I don't know what I think about that. If it was on purpose, okay, I've got to accept it. If it was a mess up by Hot Toys, well, I don't like it. If it's supposed to be that way in the movie, then by golly, I want it to be that way. I don't want it to be that way if it's not supposed to be that way. So it shows here that the whole forearm just comes off with lasers on it. I'm trying to remember the scene that he used the lasers in Avengers. Of course, we've seen the Mark VII in Iron Man 3 as well. That's when we actually seen the back of it opened. As he's in the bar, and he's approached by those two little kids, and they brought them the picture, and they asked him something, I don't forget what it was, how he came back or something, I don't remember. And Tony was kind of going through like a PTSD moment. He had to get into his armor. He walks out of the little restaurant or bar, or whatever it was, and his armor is like sitting there next to the motorcycles. He just walks into it and he asks for a health check, more or less. I feel like I'm having to be very careful getting this forearm off. Nice and tight. Don't understand why they didn't do it like the 42 and the 43. So I'm loving that they did an articulated elbow now instead of this rubber piece that are in these guys. Every single Mark 7-ish. So it's definitely one, two, double jointed. Doesn't give him any, doesn't increase the amount of movement. You definitely have to worry about posing him. You don't want to pose these guys into like a bent elbow because those will rip right up. Really pleased about that. Let's see if I got the left or the right one over here. I don't see an L or an R on this. truthfully interchangeable? Is that possible? So on one side specifically, it has a little paint scruff. I don't see an R and an L on here. There's an L on the little piece. I don't see it. There it is. Right by where the missile goes into it. On the inside is the L. Very tight. Too tight. Scares me putting it on, it's so tight. But in comparison, the plastic pieces are very loose. Love how this looks on here with this opening up. I call it a bracelet because it looks like here, but it's really the portion of his armor that opens up in order for him to be able to perform the lasers. And I'm really happy about this. The rockets I'm going to 100% consider being totally interchangeable. My battery's going low on my second computer here. So I'll end up losing chat, but that's okay. Oh, they shut off right then and there. Jeez Louise. I'll try to catch the chat as it pops up on the screen over here. So the improvements of the that I've talked about that I like are really nice. What they did improve, which made it better, sheesh, what a total improvement. Total improvement. These flaps come apart way too easy. It's a different flap system. What in the world? Okay, so I'll show you what I'm talking about. All of the Mark 7s, and everyone that has this Mark 7 top, the flaps are really easy to operate. I mean, the easiest pie. Bam, done. Simple as that. Okay. And evidently, incorrectly, they had these on here, but you could flip these up if you push these down a little bit. Okay. Simple as that. No effort, no muss. I'm not popping these little guys off as I'm moving these about. I can position them. These are still on there. This guy over here, his back flaps are a mess. First off, these guys just fell completely off. And now these guys are just falling completely off. So here's the back flap on it, right? I'm trying to lift it right now. What the fuck? So you have this itty bitty little hinge here, It is. Let's put it back in. See how much movement we actually can get out of this. It looks like none. I'm kind of disappointed in these back flaps. What the fuck? Oh my God. Okay. Got it in there. No, you're not opening this back flap. What the fuck? It's just a wiggle now. That's disappointing. Again, I'm assuming movie accuracy that these didn't do anything other than just that. What the fuck? Oh my God. This is pathetic. If they're supposed to open like that, my God, I want them to open like that. They're not supposed to open like that? Okay, well, I'm glad that they made it movie accurate. I'm assuming it's supposed to open up more than that. This is nice. This specific repulsor hand with the positioned flap, wrist flap. I like that. That's good. I love the color on the little missile pack. Remember, these were disposable on the Mark VI. Don't remember if he discharged them on the Mark VII. I think on the Mark VII he could use them more than once. Of course, on the plastic, you don't get any actual laser beams. We get laser beams for this guy. Fit right in there. I think I remember in the photographs, they're also interchangeable with the little arm pieces, which are registering onto his wrist bracelets that he wears when he's having the Mark VII pod fly to him as he's jumping out of Stark Tower. It wasn't Avengers Tower back then. The Stark Tower. Really loose in here, though. Really loose. But these are supposed to represent it scanning the little bracelet. Really loose here. Very tight going in there. Let's back to the instruction manual. These legs are different height. I was tugging on one of them, and I must have lowered it. You can see there. I need to read the instructions on the legs. So this is the shoulder piece that goes here when you discharge the missiles. You put this here. little shoulder piece. And he comes with the same thing. Here's what they're showing me. This comes apart, which is the sealed up missile section. Where are my missile armors? Yeah, there we go. So the missile's ready to be deployed. These two pieces do not come apart. These two pieces do come apart. For whatever reason, I have no earthly idea. But these could come apart. They actually show you that in the instruction manual. I don't know why. Interesting, though. Very interesting, but dumb. I don't know why it would come apart. Ah. So I believe the reason it comes apart so that you can lift up this blade more. So this would be this side. So what in the world? So it's just one little peg that holds it in here. Okay? In contrary, these are actually difficult to get on. The good thing is they're difficult to take off. So you don't just bump into them. You have to literally slide it, kind of slide it and push it in at the same time to get it to lock into place here. It's not very easy to do. This one's much easier to get in and much easier to take out. So even with it all the way in there, literally you just bump it and it pops right out. And that's a problem. Even though it sounds tight going in, there's no resistance holding nothing in there. So you just bump them right out. So I think the reason that these come out or apart is with it all the way compressed, okay, you're locked down. You're into the closed position. As you start to pull this up, it doesn't want to move. But by it pulling apart from this other piece, you can get it up. Again, not much. So that's why this comes apart. To be able to display it more into an open position. But even then, it's not much. And maybe I'm wrong in my expectation of how high this is supposed to go. Maybe in the movie it didn't go up that much. Movies, Iron Man 3 and the Avengers that this figure was in. Maybe that's only as high as it goes in comparison. I mean, I'm used to seeing this on every one of these guys. They lift up that high. and they work fine. There's no problem on getting these to open up. None. On this is what we get. And there's a lot of improvements. No doubt there's a lot of improvements. Beautiful piece, still. But there's a lot of, really, what the fuck? That's as high as it goes on that guy, too. Again, it falls under, maybe that's how it's supposed to be in the movie. I don't know. I really don't know. And then once this is down, you can't close this. So if you're having the missiles, this is open. No doubt about it. For real, let's just hope that this is the way it is in the movie, and that we were told wrong originally. That's my hope at this point. My hope at this point is that this is the correct anatomical build or recreation of the figure. I'm sure in the scene where the Mark VII went too fast, I couldn't catch it all. What does it say about the back flap? I've seen that. Back armor plates can move in the directions indicated. It's pretty much what we experienced. Not much movement at all. You can see in the little picture there that they don't move further than what I have them move to. That's it. They don't show them fully deployed up. Just a little bitty out, a little bitty up. That's it. Little bitty out, little bitty up. There you go. That's the flaps deployed. Here's the flaps deployed. There's your flaps deployed. Let's just find pull out countermeasure dispenser in the direction of shown. Cool. So we're back to the countermeasure dispensers at work. We're back to a stomach that explodes. Looks like there's a lot of articulation in the stomach, a lot of movement. Pull the legs straight down. Yeah, so that's old-fashioned. Looks like a huge double-jointed knee. And then the swappable thigh pieces. Calf piece opens up. All right, so obviously I was pulling on this. It's designed to be pulled on. There's a little ball joint in here to go up and down, so you can position the legs to be able to position the legs better. Same thing with the waist. Where did that piece come from? Little piece here by the back flap. I noticed this piece here was weird on this side, and it just pops clean off evidently on this one. Maybe this is why I'm the last person on the planet to get my figures. Because I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm going to tell you exactly the way it is. I don't know. No idea. Everyone and their brothers already got their Mark VII, right? Last person to get it. Interesting that that comes out so easily. But what I've noticed here, the reason I'm here on the legs now, is the countermeasures. We've not been getting any countermeasures lately. Originally, on, oh my goodness, come on. The, I don't remember if it was the 3 also, but specifically I remember the 4 and the 6. You pushed this and it would pop out. It's pretty cool. They would wear out, and sometimes you have them that don't stay in all the time on the plastic ones. And then on the Mark III diecast, it was interchangeable. You could either display it with the countermeasures out or with the countermeasures in. I'm having to just destroy this little piece of foam here. I don't see where it was supposed to separate. The flaps are on the hips are really more difficult than they need to be. We've had these flaps on these hips for a long time. It shouldn't be such a hassle to get open and out to be able to do this. A bit of a hassle there. Too much of a hassle, considering. So the little flaps open up on the side, which is designed to be able to position your figure better. I don't know why you'd be wanting to put your Iron Man into this. But you could seat him really well. Probably the best seated position here that I've seen out of any of them. It would have been nice if the Mark IV came like this for Randy's Donuts. That's nice. That little piece right there just came right out. So they made some things better and they made some things worse. You get a full-on splits there. And here you'll be able to see the difference in up and down. It's a lot. Did a good job with that. These little pieces here are much more hassle than they need to be, for fact. They do open up nicely. So the countermeasures don't come out like they do in the Mark III. They just pull out a little bit, which is cool. So don't believe there's any countermeasures on the plastic version. Where the flares come out. When they lock on him with missiles, heat-seeking missiles, how the flares come out. So that just pops out right there. And you just push it back in. That's cool. Nice fitment there. That's nice. Can't push them up too far. The leg up with this down. You have to be careful about that. Definitely. Great double knee joint there. really like a triple joint. I don't like that this doesn't open up more. But it does open so you can see the little articulation, a little hydraulic pistons in there, or electrical pistons, solenoids that would be controlling this. I'm assuming they're electrical solenoids, so hydraulic. You hear that? Hold on, I'm holding him. He's rattling. I don't see the extended joint foot. So on a lot of the figures, you can pull the foot down to be able to give him more of a flat foot for flight, and you don't get that here. So don't try to pull your foot down. You do have pretty good forward and back. Ooh, there's no pivot. And there's no rotation. Forward and back. That's it. So the disadvantage of that being when you open up his legs, if you want to give him any type of an aggressive pose, okay, there's going to be a problem with you not being able to get the feet flat because the ankles aren't going to rotate. That's a problem. There's no ankle rotation, just forward and back. Yeah, that's unfortunate. A lot of good toe positioning. So you can do the back. You can do this, and you can get a nice big step out of them, which is great. But you can't get, for instance, I have my 46 here posed beautifully with ankle pivot. And I want to show you that. I'll show you the contrary, how it could be if they'd done it properly. They didn't. Here. One step forward, two steps back, it seems, right? What in the world? All these great advancements on this piece, and then they went backwards on so many areas. Golly. Let's put him, let's get everything, let's get some room here. We'll bust this Mark 46 up over here on you guys. So you can see a great diecast figure. I'm not saying this ain't a great diecast figure. It's not as great as it could be, or as great as we've seen. There's 26 of them that they've made before this. Come on, guys. Why are we going backwards? Golly. And he's 400 something bucks? Jeez. This pose that I have this Mark 46 in will not be attainable with this Mark VII. Simple as that. I'll show it to you. It's a great Iron Man pose, too. We're done with the instructions. See that foot? That's what ankle pivot allows you to do. Okay. I mean, arguably, this is a great pose. I love this pose. I have him fighting against Cap. Cap's got his shield up from Civil War. And that's ankle pivot. He can't do that. What the fuck? I mean, this 46-47 is near perfection, I would have to say. The reissue of the Mark 47, guys, get on it. Okay? If you're an Iron Man collector, you're going to want this piece. Why? Oh my God. I mean, for real, I've really anticipated this figure for a long time. And I'm just kind of like, what in the absolute fuck? No ankle pivot. I can't even turn his legs sideways even to be able to get him into this pose. You can't even do that with him. Oh, I am so very disappointed in this now. Oh. That's as wide open as you can twist him. Right there. Okay? I'm trying to duplicate this. It's not happening. Didn't we wait like 2 years for this or something? Year and a half? It's it. That's not enough. Simply not enough. I cannot turn this sideways. Get his waist sideways. But he's just very stiff, just very stiff. I'm really, really, really now not blown away by this at all. Really starting to get disappointed. So one question that comes up then would be, since the Mark VII diecast is out now, the Mark VII plastic is worthless? Ha 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 ha! I laugh at thee with that thought. Because everything that they fixed, they screwed up with something else on. Because what does he have? Ankle pivot. We still can't get a full-on like Mark 46 spin there, but we do have ankle pivot. Okay, so as you spread his legs out, all right, you can flatten the feet on him and get him to stand better. little countermeasures came out of here. Get that back in a minute. Little diode piece rockets just popped off. Pop those back on. There's that pose. See if we can duplicate it on this guy. That's pretty much what we have over here. We just twist his waist. And we can put him into that Mark 46 pose with his pivoting ankles and rotating hip. So this guy, get him into a similar pose as this, but the foot won't go flat. He seems to be solidly standing, but I'd like that foot to be flat. He is standing. So he can be turned in that manner. And it is a little more exaggerated than this one. Can't quite get the full-on knee bend there. I guess that's about the same. But both of these feet are up. Both of them, they're on their edges instead of flat. He's standing. But I don't know why they didn't put ankle pivot on there. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Like I said, every improvement that they made, they did something stupid and did away with something. I don't know what to say. He's beefier. He's supposedly proper scaled. Trust me, Robert Downey Jr. is not 6 feet tall. Okay? Tony Stark is about 6 feet tall. So now this piece is like 12 inches or whatever instead of 11.75 or whatever this is. He's bigger. All the diecast figures are bigger. So I'd like to see them continue on with this. I'd like to see them make the rest of the Hall of Armor using this. Accepting it as it is. Kind of pissed off though. I really am. I really need to play around with this pod now. I'm not looking forward to it. I never knew that the countermeasure even came out on the Mark VII here. I don't think they're supposed to. Sorry I'm missing out on chat, guys. He makes as much rattling as this guy did. Yeah, that ankle should pivot. Oh, so the instruction manual continues to do the pod. All right. Assembling suit pod mode. Take off the missiles. Take off the chest piece. That's cool. Magnet. That's nice. I like that. It's an improvement. Take off the back flaps. They come off so easily, by the way. I do that little piece I just picked up off the floor. It belongs on his back here. Where did I just put it at? I'll have to find that in a minute. Okay. Take off the arms and the head. Disassemble the Mark VII. I hate this. I really hate this. Could they just give us another body? For real? Would it have been that difficult? Just to shove another body in here? Pull out the non-ankle pivotable feet. And pull out the knees. Wow, these knees are heavy. Ah, so you don't pull out these feet. You include the feet that they give you. All right. The stubby feet. L and R. So right here, this evidently is all they needed to include. They couldn't throw another one of these in there for $450 or whatever it was. They couldn't throw another one of these in there. For real? Golly, little pieces falling off everywhere. That's the little pieces right here. We fuss on the Power Post figures, and now that they could do a Power Post pod, they want to buy it. Yeah, what the hell? I'm with you, man. I am with you. Okay. Push the indicated part forward. So that must be this little piece here. But I had no idea what it was for, wherever it went to. Push the indicated part inward. The hell am I? So this is the shoulder. push it in. Ah, okay, I see. This little piece on the shoulder covers up the arm opening. Okay. Back up here. Then we add these little guys. See if I can figure this out. So this doesn't look right. Match it up to the picture. Okay. This is how they're holding it. This is how they're holding this. And they're showing this going right in here. I'm not seeing that. Okay, so you don't actually pull this little flap all the way over the little armhole there, shoulder hole, okay? You have to leave it out a little bit in order to be able to get this piece on here. And I don't see an L and an R, but it should look like that. When going in there. So then it folds down, that little shoulder piece folds down after that is in there. So they misleadingly point to that being put over the hole before putting that on there, when really it should just be moved out of the position until you get this in there so that it appears as such. Okay. Then comes this. That's right. Looks like, yeah. So this is separate. They show it going on as a separate area. It's attaching to the neck. So that pops into the neck piece there. Okay. Doesn't actually go over the chest. And then take these little guys off. Put them on this. They're very loose. Take the battle damage piece off. The smooth piece on. Because it was still a prototype, by the way, when it came flying out of Stark Towers. So it should be nice and shiny and bright and brand spanking new, just like a car. And then finally we put this piece on. And it doesn't much look like the pod that I remember. And they've included these little pieces. Which help cover up the little shoulder piece there. So you would reposition this shoulder piece, which is over the armhole, cover that more. I don't remember the pod looking like this. For some reason in my mind it was more photon torpedo-y. If that makes any sense. We can't get this piece to agree with the other one. They don't really line up perfectly. So now we're back to the flaps. As to them coming apart, because there you go. So these little pieces that keep falling off, it says do not detach them. These little guys right here that keep falling off, it says do not detach them. All right, so why does this come off? Because it goes in here. Not because they were making it so you can lift it up higher, but so you can put it into the pod. Oh, come on. Can't shove it in there. Got that side on. This one doesn't want to fit in. It's going to have to be shaved down. It's actually too wide for it. Can't get this piece in. Then These other little pieces that fall completely off to the rest of his back, which are right here. They attach in here. This is way more work than it should be. Way more work than it should be. It's not going in there. Not going in there. And then what's the next thing? These guys. Avoid the little countermeasures. Looks like the little flaps on the legs open up. They do. That's cool. That's pretty cool. Right there. Yeah. Oh, I see. And then you can put the arms on there if you want. And you can display them with the arms as well. Attach mini hologram uphold to the base clear stone. Okay. So there's no way of really displaying this, per se, though. What the fuck? So here they're showing an articulated ankle pivot. Certainly not on this. They're claiming this has it. Here in the last page of the instruction manual, where it shows all the little areas that you can bend it. Claims there's ankle pose pivot. Says you it's just the first pull down the feet for wider range of movement. Bullshit. I can see that. I'm literally looking at the joint. This foot doesn't move. Okay, wait a minute. There is ankle pivot. Come on, are you kidding me? Super, super stiff here. There is ankle pivot. 100% there's ankle pivot. Quite a bit of ankle pivot. So totally screwing with this foot. I'm actually able to move it a lot more than what it did originally. I mean, there's nothing here. It was so super tight. I'll put these side by side. So you can see how much more movement I got out of that foot. A lot. A lot of effort to do that. So I guess that's good because it's so tight that I had to really work it good to get it out. It doesn't, it's not, there's no easy movement to that. I mean, this is not moving at all, but eventually it will move. You just really got to be forceful with it. Holy smokes. So there's ankle pivot. It's not, I mean, it really does not want to move easily, for fact. But it's there. Okay, so I take back my complaint about ankle pivot. There's a lot of ankle pivot. I mean, a lot. A lot. Probably the most pivotable ankle that I've seen. To some degree, okay? It's a lot of ankle pivot. Okay, so I'm really impressed with this now. This ankle pivot. Look at that. See that? See that? That's a lot. That's really a lot. I mean, that's a lot. So there's really a lot of ankle pivot in it. What I thought originally was an impossibility of an absolute mistake of them not doing it, they went to the nth degree on it. Really saving grace there. I mean, that's a huge ankle pivot. That's huge. Okay. So I'm quite impressed with that now. Quite impressed. Read the instruction manual. Especially if it's a new figure. Last page almost. Last page. I'm impressed with that ankle pivot. A lot. And I excessively bend the foot, otherwise the figure will be damaged. So don't bend it like I just bent it. Shows all the places where you can get paint rub. You can know where you can get the paint rub on them. You know there's a lot of places where you can get paint rub on them. So this is the pod. And I still don't understand why they couldn't just give us another one of these bodies. For fact. They give you all other sorts of stuff. There's not very many accessories. Truthfully, there's not very many accessories here. Why couldn't they just give us another one of these portions of the body? I mean, for real. I don't understand that. And no, I don't remember the pod looking like this as it left the building. I mean, this is obviously a late stage of its life, right before reaching him. I imagine it started separating out like this, but I swear I remember it being more like a photon torpedo. I don't know. So this is cool. It looks funny as hell, little stubby feet here. Very pleased to have it. But just to display it in this for 400 bucks, I got a small problem with that, truthfully. I got a small problem with that. Is he without problems? No. He's definitely wrought with problems. Is he a masterpiece? Ah, that's left to be seen. Am I pleased to have him? Of course. 100% of course. What do you guys think? Well, I have no... Let me see. I'm gonna look at something over here on this other computer. One that I was updating. See if I can maybe flick through here quickly. Probably not. I want to see the chat. I want to see what I'm missing out on. I want to talk with you guys. That's what it is. It's our channel. It's our channel. We should be able to talk. I'm not able to do that right now. I really miss you guys. I'm just talking to myself. They claim that's okay as long as you don't answer yourself, right? So, if you're wanting just a Mark VII, nothing wrong with the plastic piece. Nothing at all. You're not going to be disappointed in it. If you're wanting the new diecast piece, for whatever reason, it is the Mark VII. Still. Again, if that makes any sense whatsoever. You're still getting the Mark VII. There's the little piece I was looking for. The one they said not to remove. It just falls off. Jeez. Do I think it'll drop in price? Not a chance. There's no way in hell that this is going to be on the bargain basement. That's not going to happen. It's going to go up in price? Don't know. Truthfully. Is this another Mark 47? Hard to say. You know what I mean? It's really, it's a grail piece. It's really a special piece. It's in 2 movies. Avengers and Iron Man 3. I mean, as a used armor, not just in the Hall of Armor, like the 6 and the 4 and the 5 that are in Iron Man 3 but don't get used. The 6 is also in Avengers. So 6 and 7 are the Avengers armors. He starts with the 6. It's the only one we see him underwater in, except for the 42. But the 7's obviously able to go to space. So if it can go to space, it can go underwater. We see him using the 6 to weld, I think, the electrical cables or something, cut through them or something he was doing under the water in the 6 at the beginning of Avengers, as he's making Stark Tower on its own power grid. Can I get this piece on here? It's not going in. I'm going to have to mess with that later. It's not going in. These come off really easy. And then we can put on either the discharged missiles that we see at the end of Avengers. He comes back after throwing the missile up into outer space. He comes back with this because he discharges these. So before he uses them, he has this, and then he puts them into deployable mode. Which is this, and then after he deploys them, turns into this. So you can do either one of those. Come off real easy. Glad they fixed that over this too. I mean, it's easy as well. It's good. But in pod mode, these would be here. It's funny that you have this and this. So one of these is probably wrong, wouldn't you say? I wonder. Wow. Okay. Well, that's a new get up here. Let's have a look at this. What's the instructions say about this piece? Sure didn't expect to see that. They just show it. They don't show how it connects to the figure. So this goes underneath his body? Is that right? So if we were to display him standing up, yeah, that's what that's for. Sure would be nice if there was a piece of foam there to keep from scratching up your Iron Man figure. I mean, they put the foam here. Why didn't they put anything down here for the crotch? You're gonna scratch it right up? Maybe they figure you're never gonna look at his crotch. So I suppose if you're flying this, you would go the other direction, right? So that's clever. I like that. It's really clever. So does this... Okay. So I'm going to assume then, if you're just going to pose your Iron Man straight up, standing pose without being in the pod, just unscrew this piece. There's little screws on the bottom there, and it'll come off. Okay? I don't know whether or not you'll want to use this piece in posing the Iron Man figure itself. You might, but if you don't want to, it comes off. Or just use just any other lobster claw that you may have about in your collection. So you don't have to have this. This will unscrew. So whatever your decision is on that. But for the pod, it's nice. So I think it gives it that extra bit of support that the pod really needs. Now, what would have been nice is if this then as well could be done straight up instead of out. Maybe they should have given us a different piece altogether just for this. Obviously this is articulated, so you'll be able to bend it. And they've given us the newfangled post stands, which I'm not a fan of. And I don't know how much strength, truthfully, there would be in this being in such a manner of it being at a 90-degree bend in order to get the pod into this type of a pose. Not real sold on bending this 90 degrees and having it support this. I would much rather it be like such for fact. So that's neat. Finishing up setup over here. Come on. So I really want to talk with you guys. I hate this. So I'm going to be displaying the pod evidently. And I bought 2 of these, so I could display the pod. But that's stupid. I really wish they just included this extra body. For the price that we paid, especially. I mean, for real. For fact. It's stupid. And no, I don't believe for 1 second that these pieces can go on this. This can be used as a pod for this. But if somebody out there foolishly is giving away their Mark VII plastic because they want to replace it with a Mark VII diecast, maybe it's not so foolish after all. Now would be the time to snatch that and do your own custom pod. Should be easy enough to be done. Don't mind cutting up your figure. Maybe getting one of these guys for $200 or $300. Be cheaper than buying another one of these for $400 just to make you a pod. You know what I mean? Take this guy, cut him up, attach these onto him. I bet it would work. I bet it would work. My computer's saying just a moment. I don't think I'm going to be able to talk to you guys today. It really sucks. I really enjoy you guys. You're my family. You know what I mean? I enjoy hearing what's going on with you guys. Enjoy discussing stuff with you, arguing with you if I think you're wrong. I literally started this yesterday morning. "24 hours later, still updating. Hate this laptop. I hate it. It's a Toshiba. Does Toshiba still make laptops? Maybe this was the last one they made. My wife bought it 6 years ago. And I remember when she bought it, I was like, why did you buy a Toshiba? I told her then, I said, you should have bought an Asus. It's a nice big gaming laptop. Oh, yeah. But it was cheap. You know that it is. Fit her needs at the time. So she thought. I don't believe I don't know about these flats being up and out. I'm literally going to have to look at the video. I don't remember all this going on in the movie when it's flying out of the Stark Tower. It was a pretty insane scene. What, Loki throws him out of the tower, right? Thankfully, he's got the bracelets on, which he put on as soon as Loki showed up. And Jarvis was like, sir, the suit's not ready. And it gets to him just before he crashes into the ground. Pretty powerful scene. Shartimus Prime! I love you, Sharp, man. I haven't seen you in like a year or so. Dude, I hope you are well. Congratulations on the little ones. Shartimus is a friend of mine. I am very pleased to call him that. He is an amazing guy. Amazing. Any of you that are honored enough to know him, you are very pleased. You are very lucky. He's an awesome dude, for fact. Hard worker, wonderful family man, smart, funny, intelligent. How you doing, Sharp? So this is where we are. I'm so fortunate to be able to look up and happen to see him right then and there. Welcome to the channel, dude. And I don't have any chat. I just happened to catch it as it popped up on my phone there. So I believe I'm at the end. I don't know if there's anything else really to discuss on. I can stare at the camera here and catch your notes if they're short. Seems to be 3 lines is about all I can read before it disappears. So if you've got any questions, comments, looks dope. Love you, Siri, bro. Yeah, nah. Thank you. Very little sleep, loud. Yeah, me too, man. I peep in once in a while. I'm glad to have you, Sharp, man. I love you. Love you to death. We both live here in Northern California. Sean Long as well. So you never get enough time with your friends, though, it seems. It's so difficult to get together. But he's a great guy. Check out his channel. If you're not ever been to Shartimus Prime, go to Shartimus's channel for fact. He's got a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. He's helped me out a lot. For fact. So this is it. This is it. Again, I can't get this piece on. I'm literally going to have to either open this hole up or shave this down. It just doesn't go on there. I'm not going to put him back into Mark VII mode again. This is him. This is what's going to be displayed. I'll crack open the other one, I guess. I have a Mark VII up. I bought 2 of these specifically because I knew I was going to have to use one for the pod. But this seems to be like a whole lot of excess nothing for this. It's cool, but you know what I mean? They should have just given just this extra little body. I can't say that enough. For the price that you pay, especially. It's a requirement in order to be able to do this. But it is cool. It's what we've wanted one since. I mean, we've wanted one for I don't even know how many years it's been. 5 years, 7 years. So I'm happy to get it. Pricey as hell. Yeah, pricey as hell Transformer. No doubt about that. For fact. I never thought of it as a Transformer. I love that. Pricey as hell Transformer. So I've posted up what I got coming up for the next few weeks. I've got Casual Wade coming. I've got Ned Lead coming, called the Fat Man of all things. I've got Negative Suit Spidey coming. I've got the image of, it's called Images of Icon. It's the arms for Doctor Strange. It's like 14 arms, 7 on each side. That's coming. Vampirella, the 50th anniversary, Gonzalez. Jose Gonzalez, Vampirella's coming from Fison / TBD, whatever you want to call it. So the next 5 or 6 weeks are booked up of what we'll be opening up. I posted that on the channel there so you can see what's coming on. And I'm really pleased about this to get it. I'm pleased to have another Mark VII now in the collection. I'm pleased that it's diecast. I'm hoping that they're going to give us now the continuation of the Hall of Armor, which has been suspended, I'm assuming suspended. But I don't think it's as good as it could have been. Truthfully, I still stand on that position. I'm glad to see the ankle pivot. Shark, there's ankle on this. I didn't think there was. There's hella ankle pivot. Hella ankle pivot. So the Mark VII has great ankle pivot. Probably some of the best ankle pivot that I've seen. And at first I was totally couldn't get it to pivot at all. Made no sense. Didn't pivot at all. It didn't make any sense. As I'm reading the instruction manual, what you should do, especially on any new figure, it shows ankle pivot. Sure enough, there's some serious ankle pivot for fact. So you can easily pose this into any pose that requires ankle pivot, which is a requirement. With these guys, with an action figure, you have to be able to have ankle pivot. And at first I was extremely pissed and really ranting on it, the fact that I couldn't move it. These little guys don't move. These little feet, they don't move. So the feet that they have, these little midget feet, tiny little child-sized feet, they don't move. Yeah, definitely get one of these. If they're available, get one. I don't know if they've sold out. If Big Bad Toy Store guy has them, snatch it up, because they're only going to charge you $4 with shipping. Sideshow's going to charge you $20 in shipping, so it's going to be an extra $16. If you want to get the hologram, it's a pod for the exclusive figure, if it's still available. I don't know if it's going to become like a Mark 47 or a Mark V, or it's going to be a $1,000 figure. Mark 47 is on a $1,000 figure anymore. You can buy those brand new. If you haven't gotten your Mark 47 yet, you can go to Big Bad Toy Store and pick one up. Brand new, you can pre-order it. They're coming out in like a year and a half. They do require like a 10% down, so you're going to drop, I think, $47 on it or something. But definitely, again, like one of the things that I said at the beginning of the show today was, if you're only going to get one Iron Man, Mark VII is the one to get for fact. And this is a good one to get. Even the plastic one is still a good one to get. But the Mark VII really is, in my opinion, it's like the classic Iron Man. It really is. It's Iron Man. And all the others are cool. Mark 47 is probably, in my opinion, or the 46, which are really the same figure, the coolest one in regards to all the neat little stuff that it comes with, and how the body lights up on it and all of that. That's the coolest. But the Mark 7 is just like the classic. It's the fallback. You can't go wrong with the Mark 7. Only buying one, buy the Mark 7. Unless you want the Mark 47. But see, it's more the ultimate armor color. You got the red and the silver. So it's not really like the classic armor. The Mark 46 is the red and gold classic. But I don't know if you're going to be able to find a Mark 46. The Mark 46 doesn't come with all the neat stuff that the Mark 47 comes with. Mark 47 comes with the open up face, the empty helmet. So Mark 7. We're buying only one, Mark 7. Can't get over looking at this little guy. He looks wrong to me in many ways. And again, I think he should be a pod. More, like I said, the photon torpedo. That's what I remember him looking like. But I guess this is like the evolution of him. Because even in the instruction manual, it shows you putting the arms on there right before he grabs onto him. So, because that's part of the scene. I'm glad to have one. And how long have I had you guys now? Hour and a half? I'm not really able to communicate. I'm catching little blurbs that pop up. Computer says, literally my computer says, it's taking a bit longer than expected. We'll get there as fast as we can. That's an understatement of the year. So I'm glad y'all stopped in this morning. I love every one of you. Of course, have a Patreon. Subscribe to me on Patreon. Like, subscribe, share. Let your friends know where they can go for Once to Scale news and reviews. My wife is on the mend. She loves hearing from you guys. I'm pretty sure somebody, I guarantee, probably asked about her. I'm sorry I missed all the chats. And even my backup computer. 2 computers down, and I'm out. So definitely, if anything like really important comes, like with the Mark 47 reissue, I've made a video on that. I'll pop a video up for fact. I will. I really want to do a room tour one of these days, and so stay tuned for that. Maybe one will be coming up. Mark 46 is really, snatch them up, man. Snatch them up. Thank you, Sharp. Thank you very much. My wife says she's on the mend, and I like to believe her. I'd like to believe her. So, yeah, if there's a Mark 46 for a reasonable price, snatch it up. Dude, that one, the whole body lights up. It's great. And it's a great looking figure. I've got both Mark 46s, the 46 that came at the Civil War, the 46 that came as the prototype. They're 2 different figures, actually. There's I think it's the thigh piece. It's a little, I mean, one little cut in it, that's it. But you can't go wrong with that. They're a good price. Snatch them up. For fact. I don't need, in my opinion, I don't need more than one.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about the Mark 47 reissue. And I can understand how someone could think that. It's not the first reissue. The Mark 43 was the first full-on reissue. So we used to use the term repaints whenever they would come out with a different color, like the Mark VII Stealth and the Mark VII Subarctic and even the Mark 21. People would throw that term repaint around, and I would defend that because they really weren't. It wasn't like as if they took a red and gold Mark VII that they had sitting on the shelf where they made 10,000 of them and couldn't sell them all, and they just slap on some new paint. I mean, they were actually cast in those colors. The Subarctic is cast in white. The Stealth is cast in the black and browns, and the Mark 21 is cast in gold. They really are, they're cast for those pieces. And like the Mark III Stealth and the Mark III Gunmetal or Secret Project and the Mark IV Gunmetal. I mean, people would say these were money grabs, and maybe yay or nay, or they weren't. But the Mark 43 was a full-on, straight-up reissue. They didn't even change the MMS number on it. It literally came exactly as it came 4 years ago. Same thing with the Mark 47, a straight up reissue. Now, the only reason that they did the Mark 43, in my opinion, is because of the Hulkbuster. So they did the Hulkbuster in 2015, March or April is when they first announced the Hulkbuster. It finally came to us like in 2018, like 3 years later or something. It took a long time for us to get it. Kept being pushed back, kept being modified, kept being changed. And in that entire time frame, the Hot Toys community of the collectors grew. It went from being, a lot of people to being a lot of people were discovering Hot Toys and buying these figures. And now when you're getting a Hulkbuster, which has now been reissued because it finally came with the jackhammer arm, what goes in the Hulkbuster? The Mark 43. So in my personal opinion, the only reason the Mark 43 came out was as a reissue because of the Hulkbuster that was reissued. And not really. It was a Hulkbuster Deluxe. You can either buy the arm, which is what I've bought, so I'm going to try to assemble the arm when that comes, or you could have bought a whole brand new Hulkbuster. So that's the story of the Mark 43. Now, the Mark 47 is a little more complicated. There are many of you in the community that truthfully believe that Hot Toys loves you, that JC Hong and that Howard Chan, they personally, individually give a damn about you so much so that they love you so much that they're going to give you a Mark 47 so that you don't have to pay $1,000 to buy one. I'm going to say you can believe that if you want, but if they really loved me, they'd give me another silly things instead of that costing $2,000. And yeah, I kid you not, I sold my silly things Mark III for $2,000. And he didn't cost $2,000 when he came out in 2012. $200. So that's a 100% markup, or 100 times 200 is a 2,000, right? 10 times. 10 times markup. The 10 times markup. If they love you so much, why aren't they releasing that? If the figure sucked, why is it selling for $2,000? The Mark 47 wasn't selling for $2,000. It was selling for a lot. I sold mine for $1,000, I think. $900, I don't remember. Howard Chan doesn't love you that much to make that just so you don't have to spend $1,000 on getting one. I truthfully believe in May, when Black Widow comes out, we're going to see the Mark 47 again. That's my answer. It wasn't reissued because Howard loves us so much. It's not why it was reissued. I truthfully believe Black Widow, we're going to see the Mark 47. There are so much questions left open from Spider-Man Homecoming and Avengers Infinity War when all of a sudden he's in a Mark 50. And in Spider-Man Homecoming, we see him off at a wedding or something, it appears. And there's just something there's a story that's not there. And it goes from Mark 47 to 50. And you guys like to say that the Hulkbuster 2 is Mark 48 and the Rescue Armor is Mark 49. And I understand why you would say that. The Hulkbuster never had a number. There's nothing anywhere that really specifically states that the Hulkbuster is Mark 44. Came after the Mark 43, came before the Mark 45. There is nothing named the Mark 44, so it makes sense to call it the Mark 44. We've never had anything ever that refuted that it's the Mark 44. Same thing with the 48 and 49. 47 is the last one we see numbered. The Mark 50, they didn't even want to number that when it was first sold. Hot Toys wouldn't even call it a Mark 50. For a long time, it never even received the nomenclature of number 50. It wasn't there. It was avoided. So when they finally said, okay, yeah, it's a 50. I don't remember who it was, Lego or um, um, Select, that named it first as the 50, but then they were like, yeah, it's the 50. So then the Hulkbuster 2 came out, and then the rescue suit came out. And on the rescue suit, it has 4 digits, 0049. Now, when did we see the rescue suit? At least 5 years after the act of Infinity War. Mark 47 was Homecoming, which is Civil War. So what is that? 7-year time frame in between the Civil War and Endgame? So what you're telling me is this. You're telling me that Pepper Potts is wearing a 7-year-old armor. For real. That's what you're saying. Because it says 49 on it. That Tony loves his wife so much, he's going to give her some old 7-year-old busted stuff that he made back then. He does make the comment, she never wears anything that I make for her. I can't argue that. But there's 4 digits on there. Even the War Machine armors, he doesn't make those part of his. Now, the War Machine armor came from his. The Mark II became the War Machine. Hammer took the Mark II, disassembled it, and it became the War Machine. There's a little comic that came out that goes in line with the movies that specifically shows Tony taking back the War Machine from Rhodey, disassembling it, turning back into the Mark II, and then handing him the War Machine Mark II. All of Rhodey's armors have 3 digits on them: 001, 002, 003. 3 digits. Okay. Tony's are numbered in 2 different manners. In his Hall of Armor, the 7 of them, they have Roman numerals. I, V, V, I, V by I. After that, we see him in Iron Man 3 sitting on his couch. Pepper walks in. He's wearing it. She says, what is that, number 15 or 17? I don't remember what number she actually says. I think she says 15. We see Tony, we actually see the armor, lift up the left arm, look at the forearm, and right on the forearm it says MK42, 2 digits. So when he numbers his armor, 2 digits. Rhodey gets 3 digits. Pepper's suit has 4 digits. Spider-Man's suit came out of something that said A16 or something, right? Isn't that what it was? He doesn't number suits for other people in the line of his suits. And Pepper's suit was made for her. You can see as it fits her. It's a woman's suit. It's got the physique of a female. So that is not the Mark 49 that wasn't listed in the story. My personal belief is because Black Widow takes place, because Black Widow's dead. She died. Okay? This is a story that takes place before Infinity War. I have a feeling this takes place at the same time of Homecoming, the Black Widow movie that's coming out in May. I have a feeling we're going to see the Mark 47, and I have a feeling we're going to get an answer to the 48 and 49. Truthfully, that's my issue on the reissues. So, I don't believe there's going to be any more reissues as that goes. They're not going to reissue the Mark V. The Mark V is perfection. They're not going to reissue the Mark 46. They've already got the 46 prototype. You're not going to see another 50 come down the pipe. I think you can even buy 50s still. It's not going to happen. There's a reason that 47 came out, and I guarantee you it has something to do with Black Widow. IMDb already has Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr. listed as being in Black Widow. It does say rumored. So that doesn't necessarily mean that he's in the movie. And you can't say that he'd be a hologram because he was still alive then. I think he dons the 47. I think we're going to see him again. think this is going to happen. That's why the reissue. So I don't feel that we have any fear of any more reissues coming out and doing that. It was quite interesting that the 47 did that, and it's a great armor. It really is, and they're selling a ton of them. You can still pre-order one now today. They didn't sell out in like 6 hours like the Mark VII Stealth did. Mark VII Stealth sold out in hours. It didn't even go an entire day. If you didn't order it that day, you didn't order it new. You had to pay for it later. And that thing was going for $700 or $800 at one point. Yeah. Now you can get them for a pretty good price. People are kind of burned out on them. But there was a day, if you wanted a Mark VII Stealth, you were dropping some money. What do we got going on over here? The computer's doing something. Ooh. Oh, but I don't have internet, do I? Give me a second. Might be able to get some chats. Diecast Mark 1. I do think they're going to do the Mark 1. Howard Chan specifically stated that no matter what, he is doing the 7. The original 7 will be diecast. No matter what. He said that. I believe him. I'll take him at his word for that. I'll believe Howard Chan when he said he's doing the 7. Now, I love my Mark 1. I have the 2.0. They've already done 2 of those. So they did the original one. They did the 2.0. The 2.0 is far superior than the other one. You can't go wrong either one of them if you need one for your collection. But he said that he's doing a Mark 1. Now, will the Mark 1 then be coming out before the rest of the Hall of Armor? Because, again, I believe the Iron Legion is going to be out now that the Mark 7 diecast is out. I really do. So when will the Mark 1 diecast come out? Hey, when's the best time for him to renounce anything? San Diego Comic-Con. They do have the toy one in New York in March, right? Forget what that one's called. Toy Fair? Is that what it's called? And it's a big one. But it seems like San Diego Comic-Con is the one for fact if he's going to release anything. So if we don't see it at Toy Fair in New York in a couple of months, I think they would make the announcement for the Mark 1 diecast this fall. July. San Diego Comic-Con. It's in July, right? No, I didn't get tickets again this year. This year I actually tried to get tickets. I didn't know how to go about the process before. But I actually went through the process, sat in the waiting room the entire hour, nothing. So, no, I won't be going to San Diego Comic-Con. But that was when I would expect it. Black Widow movie comes out in May. Normally it's the first Saturday in May is the Marvel release. Could do a Diecast 2.0 Mark III. They definitely need to redo the Mark III. The Mark III was one of the original diecast figures. 5 years since the last one. Yeah, it was one of the original diecast figures, and there has been a lot of improvements. Now, the nice thing about the Mark III was that it had that ability to interchange the waist, so you can put it into the superhero landing. That's truthfully the best one. If you want to pose a figure into the superhero landing, you want to get that Mark III diecast. You can put it into that 3-point, hard on the knees superhero landing. That one really does it. No, in comparison to the 4 and the 6 and the 5, it's really out. The diecast air brake pieces. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. But, yeah, they definitely need to redo the Mark III for fact. Will that be done? Man, I don't know. Sure would be cool. I'm looking at this base here. Remember I told you that they had an area on it where at one point where it was obviously for batteries or to go into it? Those were little light holes right there. I don't believe there's any LEDs in it, but they move. I just moved it a little bit so those can be positioned. Man, I wonder if that's what they were planning on doing. That would have been super cool. If those lights would have worked, holy smokes. That would have been ultimate cool. So there you go, modders. Mod this bad boy. Crack this open, take out your screws, throw you some batteries or AC power into the back, put a little switch on there, put you a couple lights in that. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Because those are definitely angleable, positionable. I'm able to move those. Can you see them? I just tilted it. I'm going to tilt it the other direction. You see that? Those are designed for lights. Oh, man. That's cool. So I think at one point I've done, they were going to be lighting this up. But if it was lightable, now, there's even where the little button goes for the on-off. It's not in any case now. So whatever this was originally and then repurposed into this, at one point this lit up, or it was intended to, and it didn't happen. What an amazing piece that would have been. I do like this now. It's much more sturdy. I always hate whenever they give you the thin little metal crotch grabber, and in the instruction manual they tell you not to use them with a die-cast figure. What? So here we actually have something very sturdy for a die-cast figure. Don't have any fear in posing a die-cast figure into a flight mode with this. It looks great as long as this screws in. Remember the fiasco with the Mark VII Stealth. These wouldn't screw in properly. Recycled Tournament Reset did light up. Bingo. Thank you. I bet it even had the yellow stripes, right? Did it have the little shells on it also? I don't have any Terminators, so I wouldn't have known that. So I'm glad you caught that. Good eye. Wow. Thanks, Savon. Thank you very much. This works great. This works great. So I don't know why they didn't put the lights in it. That's kind of sucky. $450 or whatever this thing was. And they couldn't put the lights in it. Couldn't give us an extra body. See a problem there, anybody? I do. I think it sucks that they didn't do that. But yeah, that's cool. Or track down a Terminator base, right? I imagine that's an older figure. So the bases are probably harder to come by. Seems whenever figures are first brand new, the bases are being sold left and right. I picked up a lot of bases myself in that manner. For instance, I think it was the Vision bases. I was buying those left and right because they were the only ones that had these in them when Vision came out. And then you could use them for the other figures, like War Machine and jeez, what's his name? Falcon. I may have internet here. I might be able to catch up on the chat. Thank you. Thank you, Collection Obsession. Savon pointed that out also. Thank you. And I did not know that. I don't have any Terminators. Get to the chats here. Yep. I love it when a plan falls apart. Uh-oh. Here we go. Hey, it's got chat. Hey, let's kill that audio. All right, that's killed. All right. Let's see. Yeah, no, they never really did address Tony's PTSD in Iron Man Mark III. We kind of seen him like totally freaking out in game. Remember? That's kind of like his breaking point. And then he like went off into the lake cabin and he died. So I guess he just suffered with that for the rest of his life. There was never any healing of his PTSD. So he really got screwed up in Avengers, and it continued to screw with him all the way to the point where he died. Tragedy of Tony. He had a pretty rough life as being a rich billionaire genius, playboy philanthropist, right? Let's build a suit of armor around the world, and that culminated in Ultron. Yeah, and he was able to commit to his promise to Pepper retiring Iron Man, and she did. Yes. Sir, have you heard about the new Black Widow movie? People say RDJ is coming back. Yes. As Tony for the last time, I think so. If Hot Toys released another Tony figure, will you buy it? Hell yeah. Same after Ultron, he didn't get over his PTSD. He just back to his usual self. Exactly. What does it say in instructions about the back flap? Well, we went through that. I'm sure in the scene where the Mark VI arrives at Stark Tower, the jet brakes move via a piston, which is connected to the back armor. If the same is true on the Mark VII, then they might only go so far up. Interesting. I have two original Hot Toys Mark VII. Is it worth buying the diecast? Yes. 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 I would not say sell your plastics unless you want to. There's nothing wrong with them. I like having the multiple figures so I can display, one up in the Hall of Armor and one with the Avengers, however you wish. But yeah, the diecast is nice. No pink panties yet. We won't get the pink panties on this. So the reason that we get pink panties on these figures is this piece here is a soft rubber, and they did that to be able to maneuver the legs. All right, they have since addressed that differently with the flaps that open up above the thighs to be able to move those around. But before that, the pieces would just move around. Now, when they painted this, because you're multiple different types of material, they used a silver paint and then applied like a red chrome over it. Now, speaking of, if you were to buy this paint right here, you can repaint your pink panties and they will be perfectly painted properly on your figure. Okay? And the way you would do that is by disassembling your figure simply enough by taking the legs off. You just pop the legs off, okay? And then this is glued on, all right? Where it's glued on at essentially is at the crotch. There's no screws. It'll pop clean off. And then you'll just take it off, stick it into a little cardboard box, spray it, let it dry, and bam, you're right back to this. This is the color for it. This Tamiya TS74. Okay, this is the color that you want to use to spray paint this. You can do it on the hands too, because the hands and the panties are what does it. This will fix that. So that is how you fix the pink panties, by the way, which happens on the 4 and the 6 and the 5. I don't remember if I've seen it on the 3 or not, but that's how it happens. That's why it happens, and that's how you fix it. And then you're back to a beautiful looking piece. There's your story of your pink panties. Had the most power pod. They want the buyer to figure and have it as a pod. You're right. I'm with you, man. That's my biggest complaint. Iron Man could go on his tippy toes like a ballerina. I also like watching the pod suit up scene from the Avengers multiple times. When the pod first shoots out the building, it looks like a bullet. Then it attaches apart, and then it looks exactly like this pod. Thank you, Savon Mason. So, but yeah, it sounds like you and I are in agreement. I remember it looking more like, a photon torpedo, or as you said, a bullet. But yeah, I do remember the pieces like flying off of it, and then it becoming this in its final stages of the evolution. But I kind of really wanted it to be more pod-like, I guess. If that makes any sense. I really wanted that pod. The suit up scene, you can never see the bottom of the pod during the scene, so Hot Toys probably just came up with something. I gotcha. Hey, all the flaps are out during that scene. Right? He is. Yes, he is. I feel like Ant-Man and the Wasp will be releasing in Hong Kong soon. Really? What the hell is taking them so long? Do you think they're not releasing the Ant-Man because of the Wasp? Do you think the Wasp is where the hang-up is? Because this is what, the third Ant-Man? And it's not like as if they're having to do anything really different with this. So why now all of a sudden is the Ant-Man taking way longer than normal to release? It's got to be because of the Wasp. They're probably just making sure that they come out at the same time. Because the Wasp is a new figure. And one of these Wasps, because see, the Wasp and Hulk are pieces that I'll buy in multiple scales because they're multiple scalable. This Wasp and Ant-Man here are great. I think this is Marvel Select. I don't remember. So if you want to get a Wasp that, in my opinion, accurately reflects Wasp from the movie, this Marvel Select is dead on. Really is. I think it's going to be a great addition. And I'm pretty sure that's what this is a Select figure. And I think it's going to be great. And here's the little Ant-Man that goes with it. Both these guys, they really appear to look very much like what the Hot Toys figure will look, and they're really good to that. And so I love posing these guys, him, in multiple generations or multiple sizes. So I always try to track down one that really looks like it. These guys really look like it. So I have these from Ant-Man and Wasp. Nothing else yet. So I'm giving you a pointer on that. Mark 46s recently. Yeah, snatch them, man. If there's 46s that are being, then, but I don't think there's going to be any more reissues. I may be wrong. Maybe wrong. You think they would do the Diecast Mark I? Yes, for 20th anniversary of Hot Toys. When is the 20th anniversary of Hot Toys? When exactly is that? When does Black Widow movie come out? May 5th, the first weekend in May. Could do a what Diecast Mark II. Yes, I agree. 5 years since the last one. Yep, I missed the Diecast air brake pieces. Extra parts that sat between the air brakes and the armor. Oh, yeah. So the Mark III came with those, and the first diecast pieces came with those. The little silver metal pieces in here, they could be separated out, right? So these they can't be, but in the original plastic pieces, they came separated out, and in the Mark III diecast, they were separated out. But on even this plastic one here, they're in there. They don't come out. But yeah, I know what you're talking about now. The extra little pieces, the little diecast air flat pieces. Yeah. I thought they were cool, and I really enjoyed them too. Because you could separate them. You could have like the plastic piece and then that piece, and do that. I don't know if I've got anybody posed like that anymore. But I did have. It was the Mark III. I don't think the Mark IV did that. I think it was just the Mark III. But yeah, it's really cool. It really is. Pain in the ass on the diecast to separate the plastic off of it, though. Just as you said, came in the plastic impossible to get off. Yes, it was. Sure was. Only thing missing except lights are the pipe bombs. So there are pipe bombs on the Terminator base, huh? They made it feel very premium. The 20th anniversary of Hot Toys is this year. Yeah, because it was 2000. Yeah, it was 2000 when Hot Toys came out. And from my understanding, when Hot Toys was trying to become what they are now, one of the things that they did was they created some sort of like club for people to join. And if you had enough faith in Hot Toys to belong to this club, oh my goodness, the red carpet is rolled out for you. You can evidently go right up into Secret Base there and get figures before having anybody else or having to wait in line or whatever. There's like a whole bunch of stuff that's given to you, even to this day, if you've been with Hot Toys for all that time. And back then, Hot Toys wasn't making what Hot Toys makes now. Hot Toys was really kind of focusing on the military aspect of 1/6 scale figures. So the original Hot Toys figures from back then certainly don't, in my opinion, live up to what is now the term that's been coined, Hot Toys quality. The Hot Toys quality now is really superb. Is there room for improvement? Always, always. But in comparison to what other figures are capable of doing, Hot Toys really does spend a lot of time doing this. They spend weeks just researching a figure before even starting to craft it. So they research all the information that's made available to them before they even start drawing the figure up and going from there. So Hot Toys quality is a term that is actually used in the industry and by us collectors to compare these figures to other figures. There's another figure that, in my opinion, is specifically set aside from any other, and that would have to be TB League or Fison. I will always call them Fison. Their website is still Fison.com. Okay? They want to call themselves TB League over a lawsuit or an infringement of copyright or trademark name or whatever that happened in Japan versus their offices there in China or Hong Kong. I don't know exactly where they are. So they created the TB League name for that. But I will always call them Fison. But their seamless bodies, oh my God. If you want a body that accurately represents the human body, female or male, you're going to want a Fison body. Period. There's no two ifs, ands, or buts about it. There are other companies out there that are making bodies. I'm not familiar with any of them. I've not owned any of the Jow dolls or whatever they are called or any of the other companies that have come out since then to craft these figures, but a Fison. So Hot Toys and Fison, if you really want something quality, you're not going to go wrong with either one of those, for fact. And I got a Fison Vampirella coming. I've got the other two. I've got the original Asian release one, and then I have the SHCC Vampirella. I've got the Lady Deaths, both of those. I love my Fisons. I've used Fisons whenever I buy a suit and put a character together. I'm using Fison on my Mary Jane was a steampunk Fison. Poison is on a Fison body. I've got Mantis coming. That'll be a Fison body. My Daphne from Scooby-Doo is a Fison body. I would love to see a Pepper. I would love to see a Pepper. I would love to see a brand new Pepper. We need a brand new Pepper. We need a Happy, but we really need a brand new Pepper. I'd love to see a new Pepper. That's what I'd really like to see. I'd like to see a new Pepper Potts. I turned Ray into a Fison. I guess that's the extent of my Fisons. Looking around here, trying to see if I've got any other Fisons laying about. No, that's it. Love every one of them. Oh, I have a Nier Automata Fison. So, if you're wanting to get seamless, if you're wanting like Thor, so like Hot Toys makes like a themeless elbows in Gamora and Thor, but if you want to go on full on seamless, the elbows and the hips and the knees and everything, Fison, definitely. So I think I've talked you guys to death. We've been in here now for 2 hours. Seems to be about the extent of or the length that we make these last. I appreciate every one of you guys. I love you. I love every one of you. I really do. Thank you very much for everything. Got a P.O. box. It's in the description down there. Send me anything you want, man. Artwork. I don't even care. I do have 2 letters I need to get out to you guys that have sent me stuff. Thank you very much for that. Love my Jean-Luc Picard. What an unbelievable gift. And the card that I received, thank you. Anything. Just, what's it called? Was it 49 cents for a stamp or something like that? Hey, it's good to read handwritten letters. Love it. So I'm going to get out of here. I'll see y'all next week. I will be doing I think I'm doing Casual Wade next week, right? Is that what we have going on? The Deadpool Casual Wade. Got him right here. And I've got Ned Leeds right here from Spider-Man Homecoming, where he helps him discover his suit. Got those already in, and I will be doing those. I've got the Scarlet Spider for sale, still in its original packaging. Somebody asked me, is it really in its original packaging? It sure is. Never been opened. Straight from the Sideshow. They ship it just as such. Remember, they don't put it in a Big Bad Toy Store box. So it's never been opened. Brand spanking new Scarlet Spider. So unless you guys got anything else, I'm going to end this stream. Thanks for tuning in. Love you guys. Peace. See you on next video. See ya.